The chronological Bible reading for March 30th is Judges chapters 1 and 2. The people of God are moving into the promised land. They are taking possession, and we get a little bit of a recap of what's been taking place. Judah is going forth and conquering and taking names. God is with them, giving them victory after victory until we see in chapter 1, verse 19, they could not drive out the people who were living in the plain because those people had iron chariots. Iron chariots don't scare the God of Israel. Iron chariots are not too tough for the God of Israel. Is something else going on there that the author just chose not to expose or throw the tribe of Judah under the bus? We see in the very next verses that the tribe of Benjamin failed and did not drive out the Jebusites, and that the tribe of Benjamin allowed the Jebusites to live among them even until this day. Now, this was written much later. Did they not remember the instruction of God all the way back in Exodus 23 that said, do not let the people live among you? And it even named the tribes, the Jebusites, the Hivites, and all the others by name. Don't allow them to live among you. They will draw you away. The tribe of Benjamin failed to follow that instruction. We see also that the tribe of Manasseh did not drive out the Canaanites that were in the land before them. They became strong enough to enslave the people, but not to draw them out. It seems to me you'd require more strength to enslave somebody than to just kill them. I don't know. I mean, if you enslave somebody, you have to watch over them to make sure that they're not going to rise up against you, that they're not going to steal from you, that they're not going to take you out. And yet, this is what took place. Manasseh enslaved the Canaanites, breaking the commandment of the Most High God. And they weren't alone. Ephraim failed. Asher failed. Naphtali failed. The Danites failed so harshly that they were actually driven out of their land by the Amorites. And so we see this pattern of sin and judgment begin that the book of Judges is so well noted for. But instead of focusing on that cycle, the cycle of sin, the cycle of the people failing and falling short, what if we were to flip the narrative and focus on the redemptive nature of the God of heaven? And even though the people fell short and they would fall into sin, and their sin would bring God's judgment upon them, God's discipline, they were, when they began being disciplined, they would call out to God and he would hear them and he would deliver them time and time again. It is curious to me that most of us, were raised in churches where we were thinking and being taught about the repetitive sin cycle of the Israelite people. But even more remarkable than their sin is God's redemption and how God blessed them a time again and again and again. How God forgave them, how God rescued them, how God raised up leaders for them. That first paragraph in chapter 2, the angel of Yahweh goes to the people and said, I gave you a commandment, Israel. I told you not to make a treaty with the people who lived here. They're wicked. They're doing detestable things. They will draw you into sin. You must not be like them. And if you partner with them, they will rub off on you. You must not do that. But you've done it anyway. And now you're not going to have my blessing and my protection. And I am no longer going to drive them out from before you. The people of Israel wept and offered a sacrifice. But the scriptures tell us God says it's much better to obey than to offer sacrifices. We live in a society that would jokingly teach us that it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. And maybe when taking risks and starting new businesses or doing other things that we know to be right, it's better to obey God and and not ask for permission from other people. But when it comes to walking according to the commands of the Most High God, we are to obey him. And sacrifices are great, but they're nowhere near as great as obedience. The people of God followed God for the most part until Joshua died and the rest of his generation. And then in chapter 2, verse 10, it says, another generation rose up and they did not know God, and they did not know the works that Yahweh had done for Israel. And my question is, why not? Were they so comfortable that they didn't feel the need for God? Did they have nice homes? Were they well fed? Were they mostly living at peace with their neighbors? It makes me wonder if that's what's happened to the younger generations of Christians in Western society. Have we made them too comfortable? Have we created churches with a cotton candy gospel? Have we placated a generation of people and cheapened the word of God so that we could make them feel comfortable so that they wouldn't leave, all the while making them so comfortable that they don't follow where God is calling us to go? It's very easy for us to point the finger and focus on how the people around us are not following the God we serve, but perhaps we should spend more time repenting than we do judging. Something to prayerfully consider. God bless you, my friends. May you and I be humble before the eyes of the Most High God. May he bless us. May he fill us with his Spirit. Give us all understanding. May you have the peace that transcends understanding. And may he bless you more and more as you seek him. We'll see you tomorrow.